We recently had this Prevost marathon conversion in for some work, and we're going to go through and show you what we did. The expensive sparkle lube. that gets expensive when we start seeing the shiny stuff come out there. This is on both front wheel hubs of this Prevost. Here you can see how the race is really worn and very dull in color, and just has lots of little scratches and scrapes in it. So the way the kingpin works is there's a knuckle here and in the middle, and then this bearing. Every time you turn, there's a bearing here, and that's what pivots for your steering on there. And then you got a bushing in the top and the bottom that has grease in there, and as that turns, it pivots in there the whole time. If you don't grease things up enough, this bushing can wear out, and that's where you get the kingpin play that's this way, which you hit a bump and the steering wheel wants to kind of turn because it can tip and turn. But also what happens is if this bearing gets worn, then there's more play in between the knuckle here. When we install it, we put these little shims in there, so that everything's nice and tight and there's no up and down movement of the knuckle. But if it's bad, the knuckle can move up and down on here. It's kind of beating on the bearing a little bit. You're getting dirt and stuff because you're not greasing it. The bearing's getting worn. And what we had on the Prevost here was just the bearing was wearing. There was a lot of kingpin play just vertically up and down. That was probably looks dirtier than it should be. The bushings were fine. The top, we've had to pull the kingpin out to do it, and the kingpin looked like brand new top and bottom. The bushings look great. But the bearing was worn and there was a lot of excessive shim play. So we were able to just replace the bearing and throw a couple of new shims in it to get it all to fit together nicely to stop that. So we didn't have to replace the kingpin or the bushings, which is the really expensive part. So for only a couple $100 in parts and labor, we were able to do that on the Prevost. So that was nice to be able to do that. But the moral of the story is grease your stuff a lot. Always add grease to it, and then you're not going to have that kind of wear happen in there. But he was lucky we were able to get away with it pretty inexpensively. So both front hubs had the sparkles like that. The bearings were bad. It doesn't have a ton of miles on it, so the bearing shouldn't be bad. I think part of the problem here is the fact that the conversion is overweight. They didn't do this. This is a factory conversion by Marathon, I believe. Marathon is a converter. They make very, very nice high-end coaches. But if it wasn't overweight when it came out of their facility, it was probably very near it. They really pushed the limits to it. So I'm not saying it was overweight from the factory necessarily, but it could have been, or if not, it was very close to the maximum weight limit of the front axle. But over 1,000 pounds overweight over time really does take a toll on the bearings and everything. And you really got to make sure you keep them properly adjusted if you're pushing it like that. They changed batteries this year. They took all the house batteries out that were, lead acid batteries and changed them to lithium. They saved almost 1,000 pounds of weight that's towards the front of the coach. So that would have helped too. So it might have originally been close to 2,000 pounds overweight on the front axle that's been riding around for a long time. So that's definitely a concern. We've had several overweight coaches in here recently, and that's an issue. So the converters really push it, and then by the time if you live full time in it, you got extra stuff that you carry. Which they really didn't have it loaded up as much as some of the buses we see. So just something to think about, weighing your coach, figuring out where you're at, especially if it's a factory conversion, when they use all kinds of hardwoods and fancy stuff like that. It gets difficult to maintain the weight where it needs to be. So it's just something to think about, and I think that was causing the problem here. I mean, we had not a high mileage coach, got all the front wheel bearings are bad, the races are bad, and then I had a kingpin issue and stuff too. So lots of stuff on the front end, and I think a lot of it had to do with where the axle weight is at. So the rear end, the only issues we had, the bearings were all good. We just had some leaky wheel seals, so we replaced the wheel seals on it. So the Icon screwdriver has the little wrench area there where you can put it on there so you can really tighten down these screws. So the seal goes into a little retainer, and then there's a gasket under there, a paper gasket. And you can really crank them on tight with that little leverage. It's nice with the Icon screwdriver there. This brake drum's got a weight on it here, and the weld is coming off there. Collar on that slack adjuster is sticking in, so I'm going to clean it up with some brake clean and a wire brush and make sure it's moving freely. That'll allow it to adjust right now on its own. That's the lock cord, is that little collar. It's stuck in right now. Okay, so there we got the collar where it pops out now like it's supposed to. before it was stuck all the way in like that. This side, the color stuck on too, so I'm going to spray it with some brake clean. And then hit it with a wire brush. Get all the dirt and grease off of it. Oil. Stick that ratchet. Hand me that ratchet, please. Start all over. Brake clean. Clean my wire brush. Okay, so I got it freed up now. So now it's going in and coming out. When it's here, you can't turn this bolt. As much force as you want, you can't turn it. But once this lock is in, once you push that in, it releases it and then you can turn it. Still sticking. All right, a little bit more work. Pull it out though. Pull it.
right about that one too.
We're doing a test drive for the 4104 over there today too.
Oh wow. Transmission.
Yeah, it's got new trans in it.
Every time I thought that light was so cool sitting there.
Just stop at the corner up here, but take it wide to the left, but don't go too far. I'm going to get out and open the gate. I guess you can go around. Nice quiet ride for sure.
Yeah.
So what's your oil pressure reading? Well, when you get back on the throttle, let me know what it's at. You can wait till you're on the straight road. You don't have to look at it on a curve.
It's about 50.
Okay. Steering wheel's nice and straight, and you're not working the steering at all.
No.
That's pretty amazing.
That's pretty good.
We should not hear a clunk here, like you were probably hearing before when you hit this transition.
Yeah. Oh no. That's way better.
That would have been that kingpin loading up like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
That's way better.
Yeah, I was glad we were able to fix that kingpin for just a couple $100.
Yeah.
That was
That's amazing. What a difference.
Prevost would have charged you $5,000 alone just for that kingpin, just, you know.
2 days on the lift.
So you guys have been full-timing before you bought the bus? You were full-timing already in your other RV? Or?
Yeah. Take a left here.
Yes.
Yeah, we were full-timing before. We were like 2 years on the road already. I hear nothing on that steering like I did before.
Okay, matches the bank sign. You see?
Yeah.
Same colors as the bank.
We don't want to take it right on red.
I would not go right on red just because you can't really see people come around the corner very well.
Yeah. There we go.
Test out your Jakes.
It's all hot out there.
Might not be going fast enough.
Yeah. At the beginning, when I had the truck on the back, we had a Jeep before. I looked and I go, man, they keep just tailgating me. I ain't going any faster. Then it got to the point where I realized it was just a Jeep. And then people get behind me and they don't pass, and there's plenty of time to pass, and they don't. They just ride and ride.
We got all new wheel seals, both sides got all new wheel bearings in the front. Replaced a kingpin bearing and then added some shims. Trans fluid, differential fluid. Check the tune-up on it. Replaced a valve cover gasket that was leaking. Adjusted the brakes. Fixed a couple of brake adjusters the slack adjusters were sticking, and adjusted. You just had a new brake cam put on, and they forgot to tighten down the jam nut on the clevis. I think that's about all we did.
Yeah.
3 days in and out. That's pretty quick.
Oh yeah.
The leaves aren't quite as green as they were about a week ago.
You can tell they're starting to turn.
Yeah.
Good to see it get out of them high doubles and triple digits.
That was crazy.
Man.
So other than the front axle being overweight, I don't really see any other concerns. The transmission, if it didn't have synthetic in it before, it does now, and usually that helps with the shifts be a little bit smoother.
It is smoother. I can tell the difference.
Okay.
Big difference.
The gate's 24 foot wide, but it still feels like you're threading a needle, don't it?
Yeah. That's when people look and go, dang.
Yeah, that valve, I don't know why it makes so much noise. It's typically on Prevost that we hear that.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's smooth. Okay, here we go.
Yep. If you split it about halfway between the chert and halfway to the gravel, that's a good spot to be able to back out. So Mel and Nettie live full-time in their coach. They have a YouTube channel too. I'll put a link in the description to their channel if you guys want to follow them on their journeys. But I know they're going to post a video on their experience here too, so you might want to watch that.
See that white smoke rising up the holler through the trees, and from a mile away you can hear them play as they climb that hill with ease. At the top of that mountain there's a new life waiting for those who can make the run. If they can make it to the top, Scott will put them in the shop till their new life has begun. Mountain, where the buses come to run. Bus Grease Mountain, we're gonna get that big job done.